Hi students, welcome to Unit 9. Last unit we focused on modularity, and modularity will then roll into grid systems, which I believe is a very closely related conceptual practice in graphic design. Grid systems allow us a lot more freedom than we initially believe that it does. I used to be afraid of using a grid, and I was told in one of my first positions prior to going back for my master's that I did not use the grid enough, and therefore my designs could have improved. And so to pass the same information along to you, we're going to start by understanding how the grid allows us the structure that we need to provide organized chaos in our designs, whether it be digitally or for print or for packaging or for interactive design. So understand a grid by making space into numerous equal units, vary the scale and placement of elements to fit in the structure, and create active calendar compositions. That's going to be our particular assignment that strive towards asymmetry. As you know, I'm a proponent of asymmetry versus symmetry. It's not that there are bad symmetrical designs. There are some very powerful symmetrical designs, but I always tell students to lean towards asymmetry if they can. If you work with that figure-ground relationship, negative, positive space, alongside the asymmetry, many times you can achieve some great things. And of course, using hierarchy and some of the other things that many of the other concepts that we've used this term thus far. So moving into what's required for this particular unit, Unit 9, I want you to read about the grid systems, pages 175 to 183 in your textbook, and then review examples of calendar layouts under resources. We'll get to those in just a moment. And then create a calendar using only 2 weeks of that calendar. So you're going to feature the 2 weeks of the month, any month of the year, any 2 weeks of the year, and then only compose this calendar using a grid layout system. You can see some examples of that done here, and they're done very differently using the same 2 colors. You can use any colors you want. These are just some examples that I pulled from the textbook. And then what you'll do is avoid traditional calendar models, the ones that you see with the perfect squares. It is tempting to refer to those. They are grid oriented, but I really want to push you to not do that. Grids aren't only made up of equal squares. They can also be patterns, shapes. They can be circles. The first round draft of the exercises due this unit, so take time developing the grid structure. Take the time you need for that, just drafts, and you could sketch it out if you want and post that to the forum. Or you could do a quick digital layout of your ideas and talk about it in the forum, how you plan to refine or finish it. So here are some examples, and then you want to go ahead and post it to the forum. Your initial draft idea, no later than Friday. Really try to do that. If it's Saturday, it's not the end of the world, but try to get people some time to respond to you. Okay, and then here are some examples of the final calendar grid assignment, what it will look like next unit. This assignment is not due until the end of next unit, so for this week you just want to work on your ideas, which will take some time, and work on your layout, how you're going to draft that into a grid, and decide what 2 weeks you're going to use. Maybe they're important, maybe they're over the holidays, something like that. And I'm going to show you some other examples too, and then you're going to post it to the forum and talk to each other about it. All right. Last, I want you to do another forum based on the grid article that I posted, talking about using grid systems in traditional and screen media, and then respond to your peers. So a couple forums this week. It's a forum heavy week. And then next week there will be another quiz kind of covering what we've done to date. And then we have our last and final assignment happening next week, moving forward to the end of Unit 12, our very last unit of the term. So I'll talk more about that in next week's video overview. Here is a little bit of the draft process. It gives you some more details, like creating 1 to 2 documents for your weeks that you want to feature for the calendar. Each artboard canvas should be an estimated 7.5 by 7.5 inches. Sure, if you want to be more of a rectangular shape, that's fine. However it works best with you, but I'm just giving some people that guidance if they feel they need the guidance. Also, devise a 2-week calendar of days based on a grid system. It can be shape, section, straight, curve, diagonal. See the examples provided. I mentioned that already, that they're not always squares. Use line, shape, typography to mark and identify the grids and to be creative. And then also think of rhythm, structure, and how you might position those spaces to be unique in your design. Lots of flexibility. Save your work, last name _ unit 9, U9, and then compress that folder and submit it. And here's your, it is worth 50 points. That is your grading rubric. Okay. So that's the assignment. You can find some examples, and it really goes from a textbook project. So if you need to look that over, here's your textbook web link for reading that chapter and looking at some of the examples. Here's the article to read. Read this article. Respond here. And the art grid system still relevant in digital product design. If you go within the forum, it does tell you specifics on what to respond to prompt your discussion. Okay, and so here is the grid assignment resource. Goes right to the textbook. And then last, you can look a little bit about the overview, obviously. This is always helpful to understand grids. Small overview showing the single grid stemming from ancient old manuscripts, and then how we sort of evolved to using the grid, 1, 2, 3 column grid, 2 column grid, the flexibility it gives you in showing, 2 columns, 1 column, all within that space. And you can see many different approaches here in setting up your pages. And here's the other thing. We can, within one layout, let's say this is a catalog or a book layout, or even a web page design, there's several different options here. You're following a flow, allowing yourself freedom because of the grid. The grid really does provide freedom. So merging certain boxes together, but remaining very structural in the design. Okay, those are the examples that I showed earlier. And then here are some different examples that students have given me, which I found this to be very unique and fun. They chose the 2 weeks. It's a little less than 2 weeks, maybe. This is maybe one of the 2 weeks. Yeah, so this one's only 1 week, but they chose to do it over the holiday and chose a snowflake theme. The colors are nice, and I just thought this was really unique in design. And then here's the second example from a student. There we go. Back up a little to show. There we go. They chose a diagonal layout with circles for the months. I'm not too keen on the way they positioned the words to fall on that diagonal, but they were consistent about it, and I felt that that was a very a great approach. So find your own example, and I think that could be something. Let's see if we go up to Unit 9 here. I gotta find the right one. There we go. I'm looking forward to see what you guys have to provide for that. And again, this week or unit is just the beginning. So respond to the forum and then post your progress in the forum this week. That is it. There are no submissions for this week, and please shoot me an email if you have questions, and I'll see you in the next unit video.